Hi, people. Morino Ravenberg here again, as always. I'm going to discuss, as you can tell from the header of this video, why women, generally speaking, compared to men, are substantially more prone to mental illness. And this is no secret. I mean, any person that has been alive, so to speak, in the world throughout time, has noticed that women are significantly more prone to being mentally ill or experience psychological disorders or mental disorders compared to men. So, bluntly put, women have a substantially higher tendency to go insane compared to men or to become insane. The reason for that, by the way, there is an interesting article linked in the description below, or simply wait for the end screen. I might possibly add something interesting there as well. Something along the lines of a mundane explanation. This is strictly an occult explanation on why this is the case. The answer, plain and simply, is that women are, spiritually speaking, hardwired that way. Women are much more prone to clairvoyance and any kind of clairvoyance in the way of a subdivision, empathy, sympathy at a spiritual level, having a cosmic connection, you name it. Listen, that's why women symbolically are also represented by the moon, if you will. Okay, women are much more attuned to the moon, and the moon deals with spirituality. And yeah, that's what it boils down to. By default, femininity has a higher propensity for being naturally spiritual compared to men. So, simply put, or translated to layman terms, men are more have a higher tendency to be more down to earth and to simply be more in tune with the material world. Okay, whereas women are, generally speaking, the more soft. They're the softer of the two sexes. Sorry, I mean they're the softer ones of the two sexes. Men are more about power and control, and women are more about that gentle, nurturing touch, and overall just femininity, the general qualities that both masculinity and femininity embody. And this falls under that. Spirituality falls under that. Women are, generally speaking, compared to men, they are much more in tune, if you will, metaphorically speaking, with their spiritual side. And insanity is, let's just say, the dark side of the spiritual side. Insanity or mental illness is essentially spirituality gone wrong. That's the simplest way I can put it. People that are people that are highly clairvoyant, highly spiritual, highly intuitive, and they can actually make practical use of it. They know how to essentially foster their potential, spiritual potential, and actually channel it in a practical and straightforward and in such a way that they gain maximum potential out of it. They get the most out of it. These kinds of people, okay, they do very well on a spiritual level, like me, to say the least. But this is despite the fact that I'm obviously not a woman, lol. But again, just take a look at the opposite direction. What's the opposite of someone like that? Yeah, someone that's horribly mentally ill. It's when mental illness essentially just degrades you as a human being to the point where your life just devolves into a horrific mess that is almost equivalent to the plague, honestly, to the Black Death or an equivalent pandemic. So yeah, that's long story short. That's why women are more prone to mental illness. They're more prone because they're literally spiritually hardwired that way. Women by default, anything that embodies femininity, so including women, has a natural, compared to the opposite, compared to the masculine, has a substantially higher natural tendency for clairvoyance. Ergo, or hence, women are simply naturally speaking more clairvoyant than men on paper. If you took 10 women and 10 men, or better said the other way around, 10 men and 10 women, then you would see for yourself who would come out on top in terms of being more in touch with their spiritual side. Women would, generally speaking, grow quicker spiritually, be a lot more adept spiritually, and it just goes on and on and on. Bear in mind, okay, this is the case in general. There are obvious exceptions, since the world's most notable magicians and occultists and whatnot have been predominantly men, as far as I know. I simply mean this in the broadest, most genericest of ways imaginable. Okay, on the broadest scale you could think of globally. Okay, women would come out on top. Between the two sexes, yeah, women undoubtedly would come out on top in terms of spirituality. Who has more spiritual potential, if you will, or who is more prone or capable of getting in touch with their spiritual side in any way, shape, or form. But the drawback of that is just like I said, okay, mental illness, okay, women that, for example, they take a couple of wrong turns spiritually speaking, they literally go in the exact opposite direction, and essentially they come into contact with forces, whether they be natural or otherwise, that essentially completely poison their spiritual side, if you will, their natural spiritual tendencies, their natural levels of clairvoyance. What the result of that is mental illness, end of story. And the most horrificest of orders, mental disorders you can imagine. So yeah, that's it, plain and simple. See you guys later, bye.